Hi everyone, Conrad Angel Corral here for your CCTV. I feel like it's been weeks, and it has been weeks, since I've seen you out and about in town. However, as they say, this too shall pass. What we're going to do here at CCTV is give you an opportunity to do a meet and greet with the new Chief of Police. So please welcome the new Chief of Police, George Crum.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be back. It has been a very good feeling in my return back.
And it is safe to say welcome back to the city, not just welcome to the city, correct?
That's correct.
And the reason we can say that, and many people may or may not know, we don't know, you were the police chief here back in 2014 to 2017. And then it's my understanding that you retired or you moved on, and then you came back around November of 2019 as the interim chief here. Is that correct?
Almost.
Almost. Tell me, please.
I did arrive. I was selected as the police chief in the city of Cathedral City in 2014. In 2017, after 30 years of service total in law enforcement, I did retire.
Okay.
And a little over 2 years later, in January of 2020, I was called by the city and asked if I would return in the interim police chief position, at which point I took that assignment on February 24th of this year.
And it's my understanding that somewhere between that time, you were also a captain at Fullerton. Where does that fall in?
So I started my career in 1987 with the city of Fullerton.
Oh, okay, okay. So
I started in 1987 with that agency and promoted to the rank of captain over those 27 years. And as a captain is when I tested for the police chief position here in this city, and fortunate enough in 2014 to be selected for the first time during that process.
And when you retired, did you retire? I don't know. Did you live somewhere in the Coachella Valley, or did you retire and go back somewhere else, and now you're back again?
So when I came out here in 2014, my family we resided in the city of Beaumont.
In Beaumont, okay.
Right. Once I retired in 2017, we relocated to the state of Tennessee.
That's a little bit of a change, I would say. Yes.
It's a slight change, and right now my family's still there, so I still have, at some point when we kind of get back to a normalcy, if you will, I will need to go back and bring my family back to Southern California.
Yes, yes, and let's talk kind of briefly about the normalcy. Since you retired from the city in 2017, and then you came back to do the interim part of the job, and then now here we are in April, coming on May. The world has changed. We're currently living in what is a new normal now, and if and when this new normal passes, we'll be into a new normal. Do you come to the job with a different point of view now because of the world that we're living in, or is the job and you pick up these things because this is what's coming your way now? Does that make sense?
It does, and I think a simple response to that question would be that public safety is required to adapt and improvise to ever-changing situations. So as I look at, where we were in February when I arrived back into the city and where we are today in April, certainly a new normal has been created.
Right.
People are being asked to basically shelter in place as we try to mitigate the spread of this virus throughout our country and most importantly, right here in the Coachella Valley.
Right.
So it certainly does bring change to our personal lives. I would say from a professional perspective in the first responder world, it has required us to change procedures and how we handle and make contact with people currently. But the role itself, the basic role of public safety and law enforcement, that does not change based on the scenario that we are currently in.
Yeah. And talking about that, if you come upon somebody that you have to have an interaction, or your folks need to have an interaction, and are you guys wearing masks? Are you wearing gloves? How do you stay 6 feet apart if you have to do something?
Well, that's a great question. The reality is, in the events that we can practice the social distancing and still deliver a service to our community, we are certainly making that effort.
Yeah.
In the event that we need to effect a custodial or physical arrest, then you have no other options than to make contact with that person and make sure that's done safely and effect that arrest. In those types of scenarios, yes, our officers are wearing masks. They wear masks throughout the day, and as well as gloves and other protective equipment such as glasses and things of that nature. So our people are protected. We are extremely fortunate at this time as we get through this virus that I do not have anyone within the organization that has been infected with the virus. So I'm extremely fortunate that our people are remaining safe in that aspect.
That's great. And I think a lot of our community would like to know, has anyone in our police force been affected? And thank you for answering that. That's a good question. I think it's something I wanted to get to. So thank you for that.
All right. You're welcome.
Let me ask you this question. There is a new show on television called Tommy. I don't know if you're watching it or not. I don't know if it's on regular TV or one of the streaming, but it's Edie Falco, I think her name is. She is a new chief of police. And of course, she is a female, and she's coming into what was an all-male, all that stuff.
Right.
And she's having to work her way, making sure that she has respect. Coming into an established station like ours, I mean, you've been there before, but you are the new chief of police. Do you just come with some status already, and people, they're listening because you're chief, or do you have to work on that and get your team together?
Again, a great question. I believe my previous tenure here between 2014 and 2017, a lot of that had been established. I would truly say that was probably more of an issue when I first arrived in 2014. I will tell you, when I walked into the station on February 24th, first thing in the morning, the greetings that I received and the feeling that honestly I had never left this building. So I think, to answer your question, I do believe that process took place 5 years ago, almost 6 years ago. And I think my arrival this time was one of acceptance, almost immediate acceptance. And I'm talking internally within the organization itself.
Right.
It certainly was a great opportunity for myself. And I'm very fortunate that the city, first of all, even called me after being in retirement for 2 years. So that certainly made me feel very, very good. And I do believe I could still contribute to, the future of this police department and help the city, continue to move forward, whether it's through this pandemic that we are currently dealing with or any other obstacles and issues that we may face in the coming years. So I certainly believe I have that capability and viability, and certainly I have the energy, especially after a 2-year vacation, if you will.
So, are you ready to get back to work, I guess?
I'm ready to go. And that's interesting, because when I got here in February, it was immediately back to work. There was not a transition period, if that makes sense for me. And a lot of the relationships, quite frankly, had been maintained even through my 2 years of retirement. Another easy component for me coming back is all the police chiefs in the Valley. I already had a relationship with them when I retired in 2017. And again, going to the meetings initially before the meetings were stopped, it almost was a homecoming for me, and they as well were happy to see me back and ready for me to get to work as well.
Let's talk quickly about 2017 again, if you don't mind. And I'm going to bring this up because the publicity I've seen and or the PR that I've seen and things that I've read, you are coming back to the position in 2020 at a 2017 pay rate. And I wonder, I'll say we wonder, why not just ride off into the sunset at the 2017 dollars in retirement and pension and be there rather than come back. And the job is, I've got to guess, not an easy one, and the money is less. How did you come to that, decide, this, you wanted to come back? I mean, you said all kinds of great things, and you know great people here, and you feel comfortable in that, and that's, but people also have to think dollars. Can I ask that question?
Yes, of course. Honestly, when I was asked to, consider reinstatement from retirement, it did not take me very long, Conrad, to answer that question. I have a tremendous sense of duty and commitment. I don't think you go 30 years plus in this profession if you don't have that to some degree. In my case, it really wasn't about the financial aspect of returning back to this city. It was seeing the need of the city, the need of the community, and caring about all of that. Most importantly, caring about the men and women within this police department. And, they do a tremendous job day in and day out. And for me to get a second opportunity to lead this agency was a second proud moment for me, and very much willing to accept that. And honestly, I don't typically haggle over the money, because I don't think that we truly make that decision to enter this profession.
Right.
Certainly, there are great benefits in this profession for those that choose it, but this was not a decision based on financial reasons. It was a decision based on a call back to duty to this city.
You've worked in Fullerton, you've worked at the city of Cathedral City. I've worked in a large organization for the city of Los Angeles, city of West Hollywood. Now I somewhat kind of work with the city of Cathedral City. Some are big cities, some are small. What is the difference in working as a police chief or as a captain with a big city? You might be able to kind of do your job, but kind of do it on your own. Where a small city, what I learned is that the residents, they know that you work for them, and there's much more contact with them. How does that work as a chief?
You're very right on a lot of points that you made. The larger the city, I believe, the more the police department becomes faceless, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And the advantage of coming into a city such as ours in Cathedral City, we have so much more opportunity, whether it's as a police chief or, fire chief or fire personnel or police personnel, to truly engage with our community and have a whole lot more opportunity for one-on-one interaction and contact that you just don't get in a big city, whether it's, New York City or Los Angeles. I think here we become more of a family-oriented mindset, where they know we work for them, they know who we are, and I don't know that you get that at your much larger agencies.
I agree. So I don't know whether you know this or not, and I don't know whether this happened back when you were here, but during gay days here in the city, I know the fire station has a big reputation for winning the bed race. And I don't remember if the police have their own bed and are in the race, but you are back, and that could be a challenge.
Right.
Have any of your folks said, hey, by the way, don't forget, Chief, we need to be in the bed races this whenever it happens again?
Oh no, I haven't forgotten losing to the fire department. We have been in that race, and I think it was in 2016, 2017. And yes, we got beat, and we will be back for that challenge. And we learned some lessons, even though I've been gone for 2 years, that we clearly need a much lighter apparatus to race on.
Aha, you've been thinking.
Yeah, we learned some lessons.
As the
And
old
it will be
governor.
my mission over the years to beat the fire department.
All right, we hear it. We're already here first. As the old one of our old governors here in California would say, "I'll be back." Right.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
let me end with this last question, Chief. First of all, thank you for spending this time with us. We really here at CCTV thought it would be important that our residents not just read about who you are and see a picture now and then. And I saw your a brief interview on the news yesterday, but giving our residents an opportunity to say, "Oh, look at now I know who he is when I see him." Right. Thank you for joining us on that. And I'd like to end on this a little bit, and this is a little something different maybe. I know you have, as you mentioned, 30 years in law enforcement, but let's look back 35 years or 40 years. Was there an option B before option A, which is being a police person? Did you have high dreams of being on the Broadway stage? Were you a magician? You know, was there something else that you wanted to do before you obviously had a very successful career that you have now?
Yes. Originally growing up, I grew up in a small town in the state of Alabama, and my father was a forester. So I spent a lot of my childhood walking beside him out in the forest, and as he would work the land there in the state of Alabama. So as a child, I always grew up believing that I would go to North Carolina State because that's where he got his forestry degree. That I would follow his footsteps. And a trip to California in 1982 changed all of that.
Is that right?
And ultimately, as I came out of high school, I had changed my mindset on profession, and that's when I entered into the police academy with the city of Fullerton.
And as they say, we are in the rest of history, right?
Correct.
As we go
Absolutely.
along.
Absolutely.
Well, Chief, thank you very much for joining us here. Once again, we've been talking with the new Chief of Police, George Crum. When you see him around town, say, "Hey, we know each other," because you had a chance here at first. All
Absolutely.
right. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
I'm Conrad Angel Corral, and this is your CCTV. Be safe.